You also did performed this thing in one
Yeah, it was
theatre
organized by
that.
Hengasara Hakkina Sangam because I was very that was a pride event. So I kind of it was 2 years ago. I was wearing this long skirt. So and some friends of mine kind of said, "Oh, Umrajan." So and then they were like teasing me all through. So then they suddenly called me to perform, and like I didn't have anything. I had not prepared for any performance. So since they were kept calling me Umrav Jan, so I went and performed, and I like called it the Umrav Jan performance.
But you also sung the compositions of others like Aikni and all, you know.
Yeah.
When did you do it? During performances or you recorded those things when you sang the compositions of other composers?
Whenever I've learnt a composition, I've sung it.
Acha, acha.
Whenever I learnt a composition, I would sing it. Whoever it is, like Gindeji has taught.
Yeah.
Gindeji is like a person who will teach any person who is interested in music. If you are able to pick up, you can pick up, kind of thing. So Gindeji has taught, and then Dinkarji has taught me.
Dinkar, yeah.
Because, like it was like in brief sessions. I would generally have a lot of discussion with him. Interestingly, he was one person who also said very interesting story of Khayal. He said the Khayal emerged as a Haryanvi folk form.
Khayal.
The roots of Khayal is in Haryani folk form, which no other musician ever said it. So it's very interesting how musicians have their ideas of history. So anyway, so then singing compositions, sometimes, out of love of singing compositions, I will go learn, or I will just copy and sing.
Achha.
Because there were lots of compositions which my teacher Ramraoji would sing and teach others, not teach me.
Achha.
So and then if I asked him, he would sometimes teach, or he would say this time is not. It's not yet time that you learn this. He would say. Like there was this particularly one Thumri which I kind of asked him when I was 16 years. So asking that, will you teach me? He's like, abhi innu time agillama helkodtini. He said that. But I think at 22 or 23, when I was like, when the attraction on women and started getting manifested in different manners, which I couldn't openly show it to anyone at all. So it was all inside my mind. I had a alter world running in my mind where it was women and women and women and women. So I was in love with every other heroine. I was madly in love with Rekha, madly in love with Shabna Azmi. And they were all my heroines when I sing, or my classmates. So a lot of things like that was happening. So when that kind of a desire and all those things came in, then he taught me. It was a beautiful thumri. It is like this.
You must sing it.
Heri guya re, heri guya re, guya, heri guya re, kaise bheju पाती कदर नाही हेरी गुया रे कैसे भेजू पाती सांपिन जैसी ढसती रतिया सांपिन जैसे ढसती रतिया मुझ बिरहन के जियरा जलाए हारी मार हेरी गुया रे कैसे भेजू पार.
Very beautiful. when did you become active in the LesBit groups? Because earlier you worked with Enginax Sangha, that is different. That you dealt with many cases of violence, and it was also counseling work.
No,
and,
I was not counseling women. I was just involved in little of crisis intervention, but more into training.
Training,
Yeah.
okay.
But then later, once I went with Sarsi. Then it was all I volunteered working with this Paurakarmika union. Basically, the people who clean the streets and all those things. No, the corporation workers union.
Yeah, that is with Do Saraswati.
Yeah. So I worked with them for around 6 months to 1 year. That's when I came in contact. At that point of time, I was also part of Narmada Solidarity Forum. So a lot of other forums and all that. So that's the time I was also exploring my sexuality, trying to understand what I am and why is this happening to me, because I couldn't really reveal it outside. And then I met this Sangama people, and in that I met Famila. So she was the one who made me realize what I was, because the first time I remember once in Bangalore there was this program by Sabrang where a lot of people came out and spoke. And one person, Chatura from Mumbai or Pune at that point of time, I don't remember. So she came and spoke, and then first time I came to know the word lesbian and felt that yes, I am this. Until then I never felt that is unnatural. I never felt that it is problematic. Nothing, like there was no contradiction in my mind. The only thing was I didn't know what I was.
You didn't understand
Yeah,
it.
that's it. And thankfully my parents were like, they wouldn't force me too much for marriage and all that. So it was never like that. So there would be, my mother would say, see, I will bring alliances. You at the same time you have the equal freedom to break it and go. Because I'll do my role as a mother. You do what you think of. So because she also probably have faced the same thing about forced marriage and all that. I can't frame it as forced marriage now, but then I'm damn sure every single woman in India has undergone this experience of forced marriage somehow.
Not forced, like when it is arranged, you really don't know the person.
Yeah.
It's not forced in that sense.
Yeah, and
it becomes like an obligation to the family to marry. You see.
So then, but thankfully, my parents, both my parents, like whether they had the politics or not, they never brought me up. Even a single day, they did never mention that growing up you have to be married and have children. They never said that to me. So I'm like thankful to them that they didn't do it. And then when I met Famila, and then I became a close friend to Famila and Narmada Solidarity Forum. Then there was Revati with us, and because Famila was Revati's chela. So
she was Revati's chela.
Yeah, and then we became close friends and all that. Then I started working in Sangama, and I knew what I was by then. So
Revati was a transgender. What about Famila?
Famila also transgender.
She was also a transgender. Okay.
Traditionally,
man to woman.
Yeah.
She was.
So after that, when Famila was like thrown out of Sangama for various different reasons, huge fight happened and all that. I quit in solidarity and all that. So after all that things happened, then in 2006, I think around 2005, 2006, that was the first time that we people, that is lesbian and bisexual women and female to male trans people, for the first time felt that we need to come and meet in one space. We need to have our own space. Then most of the people, some of the people had migrated from Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Andhra to Bangalore, because the Sangama did rescue operations. So, and then at that point of time, I was again invited to Sangama to join and work on this project also. The LBWT project, that is Lesbian, Bisexual Women and Female to Male Trans project. And that at that point, that was the time that I met Sunil, who was a queer person, in the sense like he does not believe in the gender system at all. So he says he doesn't belong to either gender. He says, I am all. I am man, I am woman, I am everything. So, that's when I was introduced to a whole lot of different kinds of genders around me, different kinds of sexualities around me and so on.
With no borders.
Yeah, I mean like everyone was and the office space was the most interesting thing. All the words which are supposed to be in Kannada, all the words which are supposed to be the dirty words, suddenly became normally usable words for me. Starting from Sule. So in the morning when you step into the office, one very close friend of mine, Sule bandyane, good morning kane, is the greeting. So, and the understanding of that was that Sule is work. I'm calling you, I'm giving you dignity because Sule thinks sex is work. So I'm not insulting you by calling you Sule. This was the interpretation. So and so it became very different for me. So that's when we organized LesBit, and then I was one of the members who were like in the founder member thing, and then. It was an autonomous group for almost 4 years, I think. First 4 years we did theatre, a lot of theatre. We churned out 5 plays. And there were good singers also in LesBit. So I enjoyed teaching them. I enjoyed composing music for LesBit theatre productions and all that.
I noticed that you always combined music, theatre, everything in the active work that you did.
I cannot separate music. It is with
You're
me.
not able to separate it.
And of course, the outside people think it's like buy one get one free, which means that call Sumathi, music is free. Free, but then I can't help it. Because call Sumathi for a conference, you will get music free. So that's a different deal altogether. But then why I thought in a space like while the NGO, the HIV field, the NGO field was organizing people mostly based on the HIV intervention, rights, human rights, blah blah blah. This thing became quite successful and quite popular because LesBit people, though we were not even properly amateur theatre people, we just did theatre and we reached the message out because we had so much rich experience of several people coming into LesBit, undergoing severe crisis and all that. We just did the same thing into play, except that I will not sit and tell my story, I will rather tell our story. So that was the process. And so
how do you explain the sorry to intervene, how do you explain the sad incident of Femela committing suicide? Because she was very active and she was much respected. Everybody loved her, as far as I know. What happened? Why did she commit suicide?
One thing, I'm just assuming this is what I thought about. So basically, I knew she was very frustrated because she got into sex work full time. She couldn't work in organizing or political work as much as she did earlier. That was a real relief for her. She loved that work. But then after coming out of Sangama, she couldn't find a space of where she could do her political work. And Vividha was also failing. It was breaking. Vividha, which was a group, autonomous group again, a community group, which was breaking because of internal ego problems and so on. So one was that. Another thing was relationships. Famila was into multiple relationships, and then she was handling it pretty well. Not that it was a difficult thing, but then this frustration, this pressure, and all took over. She had already attempted suicide once before she actually committed suicide. Then it was just 6 months before that, and then at that point of time, we all went and we spoke, and then said, even 4 days before her committing suicide, I had gone and she was talking about this depression and all that. And so I said that, let's look for a job. Let's just start looking for a job. Let's talk to Vimochana. Let's talk to all the people that we know so that you will start working and all that. She was like, I don't know who will give me a job. Yeah, see, it's at one point I feel it's a blessing that I'm hijra at one point because I get that kind of freedom. At another thing, I feel like, how many times will I go on telling my story to people in media everywhere? Yeah. All I want is to work, political work that I want to do and all that. So I think that is what hit her.
And you have been celebrating annually a day to remember Femela, isn't it?
That is Sunil's idea. So basically, we all were Famila's house was like a community shelter home for a lot of people who would migrate and come. So all these people, Sunil and all these people would stayed in her house. She would look after them, like give food and look after them. So they all have that kind of thing. So what Sunil and I felt, the first 4 years we didn't do anything. Later what we thought was that, one is that 4 years down the line, she is not out of our conversation even a day. We remember her like forever. So why don't we do something which keeps her politics and the memory alive? It is not about the sadness that we want to think about. It's to celebrate her life and keep her alive. So that's his idea. So when he suggested that, we said, fine, like I think that's the best thing that we can do. And so we've been having one or the other programs on her birthday, which is why we don't even touch anyway, go anywhere near her day today. November 6th is her birthday and we celebrate.
You have composed some songs for Femila.
No, I composed a vachana for some.
Can we hear it?
ಮೊಲೆ ಮುಡಿ ಬಂದರೆ ಹೆಣ್ಣೆಂಬರು ಗಡ್ಡ ಮೀಸೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಗಂಡೆಂಬರು ಮೊಲೆ ಮುಡಿ ಬಂದರೆ ಹೆಣ್ಣೆಂಬರು ಗಡ್ಡ ಮೀಸೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಗಂಡೆಂಬರು ನಡುವೆ ಸುಳಿವಾತ್ಮನು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಅಲ್ಲ ಗಂಡು ಅಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳ ರಾಮನಾಥ.
So it's this whole question of how do we define a woman and a man? Is it through the body? Because we did this film called Egam, we interviewed Revati and other transgenders, and one question I always asked them was that when you wanted to be a woman, what is it that you thought that makes you a woman? They always said that I liked washing vessels, I like doing rangoli. These are all jobs which anybody can do. But what has happened is these have become the qualities of women. So that's why they assume. So this is a very, very interesting thing. How do we separate the body, the mind, and so many things? It's a very beautiful thing. This Vachana, you wrote it yourself.
No, it is Devara Dasimaya.
11th century. The Ramanada comes. That's why. Very nice. I was wondering whether you wrote it so beautifully.
I can't. No, I am very bad with Kannada poetry. I can do, I mean, like prose I'm still okay, but not for poetry.
Which century?
11th century.
11th century. Very beautifully done. You also at some point did community radio work. For which organization did you do that?
It was an organization called Samuha, and that was not actually a serious work. So basically, the idea was to get all the slum girls to come together, adolescent girls to come together, and then do short scripts on sanitation, and then this one, sewage, cleanliness, hair lies. So it was basically about hygiene and health.
Okay.
So I ended up writing, I mean, like I messed up the entire thing. Their thing was like in a very traditional manner. They went very advisory mode. They went to the children. Whereas I tried to write, like I had written a script on when it came to hair lice and body hygiene. I ended up making all the hair lice dance around and then talk and then say that this is how we're going to attack this body. So you better be careful. Do something to yourself. So when I tried writing scripts like that, And I did like, but the children enjoyed most. Adults and girls enjoyed most, and then so that's how. And then I had to write songs for them, and then I felt that it's better that they themselves wrote songs. So I used to have workshops with them, and then I did that. We recorded everything, but the community radio didn't take off.
Acha, the community radio itself didn't take off.
No.
Acha.
It probably worked in, I think even if it worked, some 18 episodes of our work got done in Haveri or Hubli, I don't know, someplace.
Okay. And what about plays? You wrote this play, Sanchari. Is it going to be the beginning of a series of plays on ragas, or how is it?
No, that is just, that is because it is Kalyani. It has a disputed history and lovely stories to tell.
Yeah.
So, no, I can't go behind ragas like that again. It took me 3 years to literally come back onto it. My thing is, what I really love in the history of music is women and their roles, their breaking rules and so on and so forth. So right now what I am planning to write, and I'm also collecting a lot of material on it, talking to different people, researchers and all, is that I have this plot about, the entire displacement of dance bar girls. And then the displacement of tawaifs to the anti-Nach movement. So I'm trying to write something bringing these two characters of different generations and come back and speak about their experience of what happened in the displacement.
Because in South, you'll also have displaced Devdasis.
Yeah. We do have.
And not very dissimilar to Tawai's. These Devdasis may not have performed in court like the Tawai's, but they did perform in rich zamindars' houses and all.
No, but Devdasi system somehow continues even now. It's not like they brought a ban and it is banned.
Not like the Elamant Devdasi.
No, I understand that. Artist Devdasi is gone.
Yeah, that's gone. Because they had to make a choice between respectability and their art, you see. So,
and that's also another critique which I really find it very difficult. I mean, this entire conversation between the conflict between Rukmini Devi Arundel and Bala Saraswati, the whole thing, I really want to bring out that whole thing of what the pure and impure music, and because I had heard one dancer, traditional dancer woman, not the Devdasi dancer woman, but the Brahmin dancer woman in Bangalore, I don't want to take the name, who explained something like this, and then she in her description itself, I felt so difficult to take it. So then from then on I said I'll rather take the third thing. So there are hierarchies in the purity of music of women. So whatever men sing is maha pure, but then when women sing, when you sing for gods, then you become Devdasi. When you sing for Raja, Maharaja, Zamindar, wo ye vagara, then you are Rajadasi. When you sing for public, common mass, you are Alankara Dasi. I said, oh my God, such a lovely name, Alankara Dasi. I would rather call myself that than, But then, look at the whole idea of building up. There, the whole thing was about why this whole purity, and then who sings what. There's no freedom to even sing, is it?